What's up, everybody? Captain Sexy Pants is back, and it's sexier than ever, and you know why? Because it says so right here on my hat. Today we're going to do another one of my classic unboxings, reviews, reveals, along with some did-you-knows about one of my favorite characters in cinematic history. So if you're interested in finding out who that is, watch the intro, and we'll get right down to it. Okay, now that everybody's put up with my awesome intro, let's get right down to the Funko Pops. So here's the box for our guy for today. Today is going to be Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There's several films in this series. I think it's probably all the way up to 7 or 8 by now. The box is kind of plain Jane. You notice one thing I really don't like about this one is I'm looking at this picture on the back here. And I'm really wishing that they would have done a better job and put maybe a movie poster or a picture of Robert Englund or something on it. Something to give it a little bit more life. This box is kind of boring and plain Jane. Well, now I'll show you guys off the pop. Here he is. Here's the Springwood slasher himself, Freddy Krueger. In the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, minus the reboot, it was played by a phenomenal actor named Robert Englund, who was in another TV show that I absolutely loved, called V. It was a TV show about sneaky aliens invading the planet. And it was a great show, and you really should check it out. Freddy here was also played by Jackie Earle Haley. Now, Jackie Earle Haley was an Academy Award nominated actor, but where I remember him mostly from would have been from Watchmen, where he played Rorschach, and also from Bad News Bears, where he played the pitcher Kelly Leach on their little baseball team. I first saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie was probably 1986, 1987, and I watched it with my grandma. Believe it or not, my grandma absolutely loved scary movies, and the first Nightmare on Elm Street is an absolute fright fest. The ones that followed were based more around the comic and the comedy kind of side of things and whatnot, but the first one is legit scary. So if you haven't seen it, crawl out from underneath that rock that you're in and go check it out. Now, normally I would do some did-you-knows, and I have a couple really cool ones for this that I wasn't aware of. Now, as I'm sure you know, Freddy was in the Mortal Kombat video games, but there was also a Commodore 64 game for Nightmare on Elm Street, and there was also a Nintendo Entertainment System game for Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, also, there was a TV show. It ran for 44 episodes. It was called Freddy's Nightmares, and it was basically like what's the word I'm looking for? Like Twilight Zone, or Black Mirror, or like one of those episodic, one-shot. Amazing Stories is another classic example of these kind of shows. In the first episode, it was called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I had to look it up to remember the name of the episode. And it's the only references to what happened before Freddy was burned alive by the parents in the Springwood. And it shows the trial that he went through. It's basically the preamble or the prequel, as it were, of what would come to happen in the movies. These are usually pretty easy to find. They haven't done, as far as I know, they haven't done a Blu-ray set or anything or collection for the TV shows, but they're all over the interwebs. If you just know where to go look for them, they're definitely worth checking out because some of them are actually really good. Originally, instead of being a child murderer, Wes Craven, the director of the movie, was going to make Fred here a child molester while he was writing the script. And he got about 3/4 of the way through it, and there was this huge thing going on in California with all these child molestation cases. And he didn't want his movie to be associated with that. So instead he decided to make them child murderers. And the reason he chose the child molester was because he was trying to think of what is the worst possible kind of person that you could make a killer. And of course, the child molester was his idea. Personally, I think it should have been a politician. Now, I have a really interesting did you know that I wanted to include in this. And I just found this out today, and I just couldn't put two and two together because I've seen all the movies that this involves. So, but I actually wrote it down, and I'm going to set Fred down here for a second, and I'm going to read this to you. And it's really, really super interesting. So let me set him down. Let me move the camera a little bit. In 1987, which was when Evil Dead came out, if you remember from my Ash video from the other day, hanging above the door in the maintenance shack, in the storage shack, whatever you want to call it, that he runs into, there's an actual, you know, Freddy's iconic razor glove hanging above the door. And Sam Raimi, the director of this, was such a huge fan of Wes Craven, he wanted to show him a little love. And this was also Raimi's response to Wes Craven putting footage of Evil Dead in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which is another reason you should check it out. And of course, that in turn was a response to Sam Raimi putting a poster of The Hills Have Eyes in the original Evil Dead. So it goes like this, like this, like this. Let's take one more quick look at Freddy here. I'm going to wrap this up soon. I have some stuff I need to do. Oh, and one more thing. The mystery box, the Pay It Forward box, has now reached its third stop in the UK, and it's in the hand of the Red-Headed Funko. So I will make sure and include a link to her video down in the description. Please do yourself a favor and check out some more of her videos. She's an awesome lady, and I wish her all the best. So here's Freddy one more time. Oh, and don't forget, if you're looking for a banger hot track to listen to, check out the Fresh Prince classic, Nightmare on My Street. You won't regret it. In the immortal words of my favorite YouTuber of all time, Mr. Sunnyside, a peace.